Yeah, I sympathize with Joe's victims all the time.
Yeah, I don't.
I'd be a sociopath if I didn't, right?
Are you calling me a sociopath?
No, because you don't have all the same victims. I mean, you do have a lot of victims.
I do.
I don't know.
Damn.
I'm in the trenches with a woman who jokes about stabbing someone in the eye, but is actually perfectly capable of it.
Hey, do you want some?
Season 3 of You picks up pretty much where Season 2 left off, with Joe and Love settling into their life in Madre Linda, a super cute Northern California suburb where they have a white picket fence. They got married. It's supposed to be the dream, but of course it's not.
I don't even care if you f***ed her.
It sounds like you care.
Are you obsessed with her?
Because Love realizes that Joe is obsessed and promptly murders their neighbor. So that gets things off to a real great start. Love also murdered their anti-vax neighbor that gave their baby Henry the measles.
We apologize.
And then they pin the neighbor's murder on that neighbor. Everything seems like it's gonna be fine until Joe gets obsessed with his boss, Marianne. Even Love gets distracted having her own affair with the neighbor, Theo. This could have worked out as an open marriage, potentially, if Love hadn't accidentally revealed to the other neighbors, Sherry and Carrie, that she was the one who murdered Natalie and that Joe helped her cover it up. That meant that Sherry and Carrie had to go into the cage. And Joe thought that he could get away with all of this without having to murder anyone else and run away with Marianne, leaving Love to pick up the pieces, but then he murdered Marianne's abusive ex. Love found out about that, got jealous, told Marianne that Joe was a psycho, and then tried to kill him. Of course, Joe got the upper hand. He ended up killing Love instead, faked his own death, and pinned all of the murders and Sherry and Carrie's kidnapping on Love and ran away to Paris to pursue Marianne, which is where we end season 3.
I will find you.
All of this makes us question if Joe's soulmate is actually out there at all. I mean, we've gone through 3 seasons and he hasn't found the ideal woman yet. But Penn Badgley thinks that he actually already has.
I think the whole point is that if it was someone, it would have been Love. You know, it's like, what more do you want, bro? She knows all of it, and she does that too.
Showrunner Sera Gamble agrees that the problem is definitely Joe and not the women that he keeps finding.
He's looking outside of himself for something that another person will never really be able to give you. Like, real life doesn't work the way I think that perfect picket fence fantasy of romantic and familial love. So that's just not the truth. That's a mistake he makes over and over and over again, and we haven't gotten tired of it yet. There's a lot of iterations of it to explore.
By the end of the season, it turns out that this is a show that's a battle between Joe and Love. But whose side should we be on? It's fair to say that Love is always the one who escalates the drama, because every time it seems like they could settle down and have a fresh start, she kills someone new.
#Natalie, come home.
But Sera Gamble says that she's not without her points.
She does objectively heinous things many times throughout the season, but she does have a point to make about being a woman and a mother that I agree with.
Is it just me or is everyone in this conversation calling me fat?
No. Part of the show has always been about us examining how quick we are to forgive men like Joe and how quick we are to judge women like literally any woman on the entire show. Because literally any woman. And I don't think there's anyone in our culture that we judge more harshly than mothers.
Sera Gamble isn't the only one defending Love Quinn. Penn Badgley and Victoria Pedretti also stood up for the new mother.
There's something that feels less forgivable about Joe.
I, as Victoria, have the opportunity to watch the show even before seasons that I was on. So there's like such a large history of what brings us to this point that information that the character would not have.
Travis Van Winkle, who plays Carrie, a man who was almost killed by Joe twice this season, is really the only one going to bat for the multiple murderer.
I think because you hear Joe's inner monologue, it's very easy to empathize for him, because you can tell that he doesn't want to continue doing the things he's doing, and he's caught in this habitual way. And I think I related to him a lot more, only because I know more about what's really going on inside. So I'm rooting for Joe.
Travis's scene partner, Shalita Grant, though, may be the only one who's talking some sense.
I don't know. I think that Joe and Love are two sides of the same coin. Like, I remember saying during filming at points, I would look at Victoria and I'd be like, oh girl, I'm so sorry. He's cheating on you. And you're home with the it's terrible. But also you're a killer. And so I don't really know how to relate. So I don't know. I think that relationship was doomed to fail. Personally, I'm on no one's side.
I do think that if Joe hadn't killed Love at the end of the season, she would have eventually led them to being arrested, or even worse, because Love had absolutely no chill about the people that she was murdering. But honestly, I can't live with myself if I vote for Team Joe. That guy's a mess, and Love, girl, you deserve better.
You are happy to murder just for a different woman. Meanwhile, here I am doing it for you.
You know who really deserves the MVP trophy for You Season 3, though? It's Sherry and Carrie.
Those look worth f***ing my glycemic variability for.
They may have started out as a narcissistic couple that we were hoping Joe and Love would bash their heads in, but actually it turns out they were the couple that we were rooting for by the end.
I think of them as a fun mirror of the other marriage.
Do you and Joe want to play with me and Carrie?
We thought of it like by the end of the season, Sherry and Carrie will also be in a form of couples therapy. That's a lot more intense because it's in a cage and they might die at any moment and there's a gun in play and all of that stuff. But I think what you discover by the end of the season is what the writers were onto from the beginning, which is we have been rooting for them the whole time. Yes, there's a lot of stuff about them that's like pretty privileged and clueless, but they're awesome. I wanted them to live, like we all wanted them to live.
Unlike Joe and Love, Sherry and Carrie proved in the cage of death that they have what it takes to make a real relationship work, no matter how obnoxious that relationship is.
Now you know.
Series stars Travis Van Winkle and Shalita Grant weighed in what made Sherry and Carrie's chemistry so efficient.
Well, I think that one thing that I've learned from this season, and especially from Sherry and Carrie, is that, you know, marriage is a business. And so there is love, but there is also, can we, you know, thrive as a family? Can we, you know, make sure that our financials are all in place, you know? And so I think that there is love there, but I think that they love how effective they are together.
I do, and I think that there's a great yin and yang with Sherry and Carrie. I feel like Sherry, you're just so result-oriented and outward-focused, and Carrie's all about the experience in the moment, and they really fill in each other's gaps, and I think the love is very real, and the facade that they represent, it's real. They walk the walk, and I think that's the best thing that I took away from this show about those two.
Instead of being prisoners of the cage, why not master it?
And Sherry and Carrie walk the walk into surviving until season 4, which we now know is definitely happening and something we have to talk about.
Disappear. Ryan is just the beginning of what he's willing to do.
The next season finds Joe in a position that we've never seen him in before. He's chasing after someone who's been told the truth about who he is. When Love spilled the beans about the fact that Joe was the one that killed her abusive ex, Marianne took her daughter and got the hell out of there. And she doesn't seem like she wants to be found. However, we should never underestimate Joe, the stone cold killer.
Definitely the dynamic when we leave this season is, oh no, she's getting away from him. This is a smart woman who has been told the truth and she is not wasting time. She's not in the business anymore in her life of forgiving bad men.
And that tiny voice is telling you, I deserve better. Listen to her.
I believe he stands a real chance of being able to make that situation look different, like convince her in some way that it's not what it was.
Joe faked his death at the end of season 3, leaving a lot of people still alive who know what he is capable of, namely his cybersecurity expert neighbor, Matthew.
You took Natalie from me, didn't you?
Those people could put Joe in imminent danger if they cross his path again, but that's still not going to stop him from doing what Joe does.
I think he has periods of awareness where he realizes all that he's done and all the people who he's left alive. I think he is definitely terrified that he's left a trail of breadcrumbs behind him. That's just makes him this suspicious, awful person repeating really toxic patterns.
Honestly, we have to wonder how many more seasons this show can go on, because realistically, how long can Joe get away with murder? Well, Sera Gamble doesn't want to put that finite of a timeline on it.
I'm too superstitious to say. I will just say that we have like ideas I'm very excited about for another season. And then I don't want to say anything beyond that because I don't want to anger the TV gods.
We have at least one more season of this show to find out how or if Joe tracks down Marianne. But is this the last we've seen of our dearly departed Love? Victoria Pedretti says she's down to return, especially as a ghost. And as we all know, she has experience.
She'd go, ooh. Ooh. That would be the Dreamwave haunting him.
Just mocking him the whole time.
Yeah.
Ooh, you think you're so bad.
Just like try to like not let him sleep, just keep poking him.
We know that if season 4 is going to be the last, it needs to end with Joe getting exactly what he deserves. And our new BFFs, Travis Van Winkle and Shalita Grant, agree.
No, I want to see him get it.
He needs to go. He needs to go down. Bad guy needs to die.
Yeah, I think all the seasons he gets, that's beautiful. But I do think at the end, I want to see him get it.
Yeah, karma's a bitch, right?
Yeah.
It's definitely time for Joe to go down, especially if season 4 ends up being the last season of You. But let us know what you think. And if you like this video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to TV Guide for more.